Hello, world of the internet. My name is Simon Miller, and thank you very much for joining me today. If you are a regular watching my vlog series, we're back at the green screen today. A lot of nonsense, a lot of technical stuff going over here. This is where the magic happens. Today, the magic is happening here. It's an interesting vlog today. I will certainly say that, you know, if you are experiencing this right now, please do go see a medical professional straight away. It's really important, but I'll give you the context first. So, legitimately, someone got in touch with me the day saying, "You make that up, Simon." It's like, man, how sad would I have to be to go out of my way to make these things up? But if you are that guy and you're going to say it again, I love you. A little kiss for you. Regret doing that. But yeah, somebody got in touch with me, actually through my Patreon as well, just to try and sort of, you know, I'm not going to give away who it was, but try and be as specific as person. Also, that person knows that I am referring to them. And they said, "Look, Simon, all the stuff you do with sort of the mental struggles we all go through are fantastic. They're wonderful. I really appreciate it. That meant a lot to me, so thank you very much." But they also said, "Have you ever thought about talking about the physical in terms of..." I mean, I want to skirt around this a little bit because, again, I don't want to give too much away. But I think the point was that from a man point of view, especially because this week, I think the 4th of February, which was this week, was Cancer Awareness Day, and I think this is how it all ties in. But again, there is still a stigma, and there is still a very real feeling out there that if you are experiencing symptoms or you are, you know, worried about something being wrong with you, you don't want to go and get it checked out because you may be scared, you may be embarrassed. I am, of course, talking about, well, like, this guy was deliberately very vague, which I completely get. I'm also being vague. So now we've entered here in this world of vagueness, but I'm going to take it on that he was talking about stuff like testicular cancer, because obviously if you're a bloke, if you're a dude, to get testicular cancer checked out, you have to go down to your doctor and you have to whip your trousers off and you have to get somebody else, a stranger, essentially, to touch your testicles. Now, the reason I'm trying to shoot sort of direct down the barrel of this is because, again, very nicely, this person said to me, you know, maybe if you could talk about that. He basically went and got it done. And he said if I'd seen a video with someone kind of just talking about it like it was no big deal, maybe it would have given me a bit more confidence before I went and did it myself. And I read that and I thought, you know what, that is a really, 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 really good point. I know it happens a lot. And again, if you do think you're going, you know, through anywhere, you should search your own testicles. You take your hand. I think they say you take your thumb and your first finger or whatever, and you just roll it around. And if you find a lump or something that doesn't feel right, you absolutely should go to the doctor and get it checked out for many reasons. One, and this is the most important one we're going to focus on today because it does tie into mental awareness and mental health. It really is not a big deal. I understand why it seems like a big deal, but it's really, really not a big deal. A doctor will have probably done it multiple times that week, if not multiple times that day. It's unfortunately something that we all do have to go through, and we all have to be, you know, on top of it and meticulous with, and you know, nobody wants to go down that road. And it's also something that if you can, let's say the worst comes to the worst and they do find something, the earlier they can find it, the more likely your chances are. And that's the most important thing. And of course, if you're looking at it from how it's making you feel, if you do take control of it and you do go and get it done, A, you're going to laugh it off because you'll be like, oh, what was I even worried about? That was it, really easy. But also, B, you'll prove to yourself, or not even that, you'll take yourself out of the way that you feel. Like, when we go through these negative emotions, depressing emotions, whatever, the answer is, well, that's the problem. What is the answer? We don't know. But here, the answer is quite simple. You just have to kind of get over that sort of that hump just a little bit and drag yourself down to the doctors. And I promise you, once it's all said and done, it will be fine. And this is one of the ones, I don't really ever talk about my own personal experiences just because, well, I think it's better to have a broader conversation. But with this, I'm happy to throw my hands up and said, I've done it. I remember a couple of times it happened. The most vivid one I have is I was in university, I was having a shower, and I had like a dull ache in my testicle. Who thought we'd be talking about this today, eh? But we are. And I had a dull ache in my testicle, and I dismissed it for a while, but it was there, and I couldn't get rid of it, and I became overly aware of it, and that's when it really starts getting into your brain. And I remember the day that it finally got me, I thought, I have to go get this checked out. And I did go to a doctor. That was the same day I was starting a job. I was going to work in a cafe just to earn some sort of pocket money when I was at university. And, well, I say pocket money, it got me through university. That is not for today. And I remember thinking, oh no, what if I go and it's bad news? I'm going to have to ring the job and they're not going to believe me, because that does sound like the biggest, you know, I mean, you have to be a bit, well, I'm going to say psychotic, that's a bit much. You have to be a bit off to make up something like that. Anyway, I went on this crazy, you know, flight of fancy with my brain. And I started at A and I ended up at Q. And I was like, what am I even talking about? Went down, it was all fine, no problems. And there's been a couple of other times throughout my life where, I got to get it checked just because. Here's the other thing as well. You go on Google and it tells you how to check your testicles. And sometimes you do it and you're like, well, there's loads of stuff in there I don't recognize. No one ever tells that about your balls, talking slang. It's just like, unless you're, a trained professional, you don't know what's in there. Like was it epididymis in there or something? But my point is this. Every time I've even thought to myself, that doesn't feel 100% right, I went and got it checked out. It was no big deal. And the peace of mind you get afterwards, that lovely, relaxing feeling, when you know it's all done, it's wonderful. It's a weight off your shoulders. And as we always say on these vlogs, the whole point of life is trying to get from midnight to 11:59 every day by being as happy and comfortable as peaceful as you can. But I do get it. I'm not saying it's as easy as you're going to just jump up now and go, oh, I'll go down to the doctors. But at the same time, it is that easy from whatever it is that's giving you these anxious feelings. They're all kind of revolving around you. Like, you should definitely go and talk to people about, again, medical professional or a friend, and they can kind of give you some support too. But I totally get it. Like, it's not the most natural thing to do when you overthink it. But in reality, that's what a doctor is there for, to make sure that you're well and to make sure that you're healthy. I mean, the biggest thing you can do is people ignore that stuff, and then it comes back to bite them in their ass later on. And that's the worst thing in the world. I don't think anybody wants that. Well, of course we don't. Of course we don't. The whole point is to try and... That's why we have Cancer Awareness Day. To be aware of these things is to ensure that hopefully, along with technology and steps forward we're making with medicine, that we can just put all this stuff to bed and get to a point as a human race where, we're not dying from those kinds of things. So if you have been worrying about it or you are thinking about it now, absolutely, just go and get it checked out. I've done it. My man I was talking to, he's done it. Loads of people have done it. I mean, at one point, I remember I did this. I don't care about sharing this because I'm cool with it. We kind of, the doctor did the whole check and stuff, and they were like it was the oddest thing I've ever heard. And talking about putting the wind up, it's probably just bad bedside manner. They said, well, I'm 99% sure it's all right. I was like, dude, I need 100%. So they set me up to have an ultrasound scan. And yeah, that's weird too. I tell you, they take a gel and they rub it. It's not weird, but it's weird in your head again. They take a gel, they rub it over your testicles, and they give you an ultrasound scan. The good thing about that is there ain't no mucking around there. You walk away and you've got the stats. And I was absolutely fine. And touch wood, that will be the case for the rest of my days. So I've done it. Again, other people have done it. I'm sure some people watching this went and did it today. That's just the law of averages, or at least, recently, especially given that the 4th was Cancer Awareness Day. I mean, this is me talking to preaching to the converted, obviously, but it's just when you actually sit down and think about what it can do to people, it's a horrible, I mean, all diseases are horrible, but it is a horrible disease. I have lost people in my family too. Admittedly, they were of the older generation, but still, death is death. It sucks. And, if all it takes is a little walk to the doctors to get it done, I think you should do it. And also, once you've done it once, you'll absolutely feel comfortable and confident with doing it again. So just in case a few years pass and you're just not 100% sure, you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable because you think that something is wrong, you'll know what to do. You'll know the protocol. And, you'll feel cared for and you'll feel looked after, and hopefully you can spread that love elsewhere. But yeah, shout out to my man that did get in touch and very nicely said that if he saw someone open, being open like he thought I could do, hopefully I have done that, I always try, it would have given him a little bit more, just a little bit more of a sort of, confidence. I said that word a lot, but it's true. That's the word. To do that, it's usually confidence and worry and anxiety and blah, blah, blah that stop us from doing these things. And I got no problem sharing my stories. They happened. I went and did them. The job one's funny. The job one is hilarious because it's, where I ended up. Isn't it amazing what the brain can do? Just as a quick tangent before we end this video. There was no need to do that. I mean, the most smart way to look at it would be to compartmentalize and say, I'm going to go to the doctors and then we'll see what happens at the end of that appointment. Instead, I was having to ring up my job and saying, oh no, I've had this terrible news. And this was a long time ago now, but still, it goes to show that you can always get ahead of yourself. Your brain can always take over. I mean, the brain is an incredible thing without wanting to get all hippy-trippy. Really good quote I read the other day. The brain is the only thing that named itself. I'm not even going to get into that. That's like if a tree fell in the woods. You just think about that for a while. But that's how powerful the brain is. I mean, again, we only use, like a tiny percentage of our brains. So they're untapped, which also means sometimes they can run amok. It's like, if you close your eyes and I say, don't think of anything, and then I say, think of a monkey in a wheel eating a chicken, all of a sudden, that's all you can think about because it's strange. No one else, when they do videos about this, managed to end up here. Anyway, let's draw a line under it. Absolutely go get yourself checked out, even if it's just to give you peace of mind. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. Peace of mind is invaluable, right? There is no price you can put on it being able to lay down at night and go, I feel okay. I feel all right. If you're watching this on a Friday, make sure you have great weekends. You know what to do on YouTube. Like the video, share the video, subscribe. Subscribe is always nice. It's a big number. That boosts an ego. Let's not pretend otherwise. That's pretty much what it's there for. And otherwise, yeah, I'll be back next week. And thank you very much for watching.